Good evening, my viewers. Monster Master Godzilla here, and I'm back continuing the Godzilla-thon. Ghostbuster-A-Thon. We're now continuing with Ghostbusters Afterlife. After the abysmal sight of Ghostbusters Answer the Call, they decided to bring back the original Ghostbusters to make up for this abomination. This time it was directed by the son of the original director of Ghostbusters, who had made a cameo on the original on Ghostbusters 2, and now he's director of this film. He decided to bring back the original Ghostbusters to make up for the one with the girls, which is Answer the Call. This time follows a new line of characters called Passing the Torch. And my god, it was phenomenal. It was a great comeback to the original Ghostbusters. It features a new line of characters. The story focuses on Egon Spengler's grandchildren, who move into a farmhouse in South Carolina, where he used to live. The original Ghostbusters were history. They were all split up after more than 30 years passed. Yes, that's right. This is their direct sequel to 1 and 2. And it has featured the grandchildren of Egon Spengler. And one of the grandchildren, which is the older brother, was played by the same kid, was played by one of the kids who was in Stranger Things. Yes, that's right. Remember in Stranger Things Season 2, where they were dressed as Ghostbusters for Halloween? Well, this actually predicted its future. And now they are the Ghostbusters. And now he is a Ghostbuster. The main focuses was Phoebe, who is the granddaughter of Egon Spengler. She acts a whole lot like Egon. Egon Spengler is dead, and so is Harold Ramis in real life. And the Ghostbusters are now history, as Phoebe discovers there's paranormal activity going around. She discovers the proton pack and all the equipment that the Ghostbusters once had. And now they end up learning about an entity called Gozer, and they introduce Paul Rudd, whose character was famous for Ant-Man, and now he's in Ghostbusters. After the big success of Ant-Man in many Marvel movies, he was popular now and ends up being on Ghostbusters Afterlife. Now, it features the same music and the same sounds and effects, which can give you chills just hearing them back. And even it made several callbacks to the first film, which I even caught on. Like, even Ecto-1 makes it a comeback, who looks like it's seen better days. And then Phoebe tries calling the original Ghostbusters, in which he first called the Ray Stantz, played by Dan Aykroyd, who reprises his role. Even Annie Potts reprises as Janine, who makes a small appearance as a real estate agent. And then they end up meeting two other kids named Podcast and Lucky, which are the new kids that become the Ghostbusters. So this one actually turns out to be it was a big successor when they introduced a new line of characters, but still features the old school characters, which basically they continued the story but gave it a fresh start. Kind of like the same thing they did with Cobra Kai, with the Karate Kid. And they did the same thing with some movies like Top Gun Maverick and the Star Wars sequel trilogy, where they gave the new characters and the classic characters make smaller roles. They even did the same thing with Creed, with the Rocky franchise. And now, here we go. As Gozer has returned, and the dogs make a comeback as well. And the dogs are not 100% CGI. Some of it was animatronic, as they respected the original. And they introduced a new ghost, which is a new generation Slimer. They call him Muncher. And he's going around chewing up metal. And so they chased after Muncher. And it even introduces new gadgets, including a seat that comes out of the doorway, and it shows like a gunner seat, which is awesome. And when they introduce Gozer again, it was a big epic comeback, and Gozer's design looks awesome, like a nice substantial update. The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man makes a comeback, but this time they're minis, which they were hilarious. And they even did some of the same stuff they did, like the facial expression when they explode, when they get blown to bits, like the original giant Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. And Phoebe's mother ends up wearing the same dress that Dana wore when she was possessed. And then, during the final confrontation, the original three Ghostbusters came in, which is Bill Murray, Ernie Hudson, and Dan Aykroyd. But then, we found out, throughout the entire movie, Egon Spengler was the ghost, guiding Phoebe. You don't see him throughout most of the movie. But, we found out that that Egon has been keeping track of his own daughter for a long time through photos. We found out that even though he was absent-minded, he still cared about his daughter very much. Showed that he cared about his daughter. But then in the final battle, though, Egon's ghost shows up and helps the team. And then once they defeated Gozer, the most heartfelt moment of the whole movie is when Egon gets to see and touch his daughter and grandchildren. He gets to hug his daughter, and then finally crosses over. And it ends with the movie For Harold, and that's the very end of this movie, where they end up going back to New York City. So, would I recommend this movie? Absolutely. This one is worthy of Ghostbusters 3. It even makes up for Ghostbusters Answer the Call. And if you're looking for the good Ghostbusters stuff, skip Answer the Call and head to this one. It's one of the best. I would not steer you wrong. And now, it's a great flick to enter. And also, this is definitely made in memory of Harold Ramis. And he was replaced with CGI. And he had no lines whatsoever. And that's all I have to say, folks. And stay tuned for my review of Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, which I will do next. And as always, this is Monster Master Godzilla signing out. See you tonight.